Today, we're at the Woodyard Firewood Frenzy. It's pretty awesome to be here. We're going to do some talking to a lot of people. Here we go.
I'm Darren. I'm from Woodruff Woods. Smaller channel than my friend Chris here.
It'll pass me. It'll pass me.
But we're here at the Firewood Frenzy, and we're meeting a lot of people, and I'm looking at some really great equipment. A little bit of rain this morning, but I think it's going to get better.
I needed a shower. It's been a month. So, now you obviously been cutting firewood for a while?
Yeah, I started off cutting firewood for myself.
Yep, same as most guys, yeah.
And then during COVID, I got bored.
So that's kind of when it started for you?
Yeah,
really?
And I also gained a lot of weight.
No, really?
Yeah.
I lost weight in COVID because I had it.
Well, I was working at home, and I have a desk job.
Oh, yeah.
I was just too close to the fridge is what it really boiled down to.
Too much chair time.
So I started cutting wood. At the same time, I bought some additional property. It was full of ash trees.
Nice.
And in Pennsylvania, the ash tree is all but extinct.
Here, too. They're dying, yeah. Right now, there's lots of it. And I talked to my logger just the other day, and he says, I got a lot of ash if you need some. I said, well, I got 2 truckloads I got to process. He says, well, you better get it while you can, because he said 2-3 years, there'll be none. Yeah,
and we're seeing that in Pennsylvania, where it's kind of going the other way. Not every tree that I take down is good.
Yeah.
So I started this firewood business. I started watching actually your channel. I watched the Morgans. I found Dan at Back 40. And started developing friendships with people, and it's a great community.
Oh yeah, that's the number one thing I've gotten from doing YouTube. It's not the equipment or the firewood business, it's the people.
No doubt.
Super nice people, and lots of them. I mean, it's just amazing how many nice people there are, because everybody that does firewood is a nice person, because they're hardworking, honest people that just work like being outside.
Yeah, I mean, I've rarely had a negative comment. They happen, but
there's a few.
I think a lot of them are trolls. They're not part of this community.
Right.
Just as we were standing here setting up cameras,
the
number of people walked up to say hello, and
right.
it's really cool.
Yeah,
really
you started your business, so you've only been selling wood for a couple of years then?
Yeah, just a couple of years.
So what did you do? You did a roadside stand to start with?
I did not do a roadside stand. I got in with a gas station.
Oh, okay.
Doing it outside of a gas station in bundles.
Okay.
And I started with the IBC totes and selling it by the third of a cord.
Yep.
And that actually is kind of where the business has been drawn to.
Right. Well, if that's where the customers are, you got to go there.
Yeah. And I mean, I certainly don't make as much on a tote as I do bundles.
Right. But less time.
Yeah, but I sit it in the back of the truck and I drive it where it needs to go.
What I like is when I get a customer that wants either a full cord or a full cord and a third, or even 2 full cords, I fill the trailer, I drive there, I push the button, and I drive away.
Yeah,
I don't have to, and I do good.
I actually just bought a dump trailer.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
It's been fantastic so far. Yeah. And honestly, that's something that I've been sort of doing, reinvesting in the business. Right. We were talking chainsaws earlier.
Right. Most of the money that I've made doing firewood over the last probably 4 or 5 years, I paid for my truck, I paid for my tractor, I paid for my chainsaws, I've paid for my dump trailer. Pretty much everything went right back into the business.
Yeah.
And then more wood. So now it's starting to get to where I can actually probably start to make some money. Because I've been trying to grow it a little bit. Right. But now I've got it about where I want it to be, so now I'll start taking some profits. But up to now, it's pretty much just all been back into the business.
That's what I've been doing as well.
That's a smart way to do it.
Just reinvest.
Because a lot of people, what they do is they take out a loan for whatever, 50, 60, 100,000. They buy all the equipment, and then they try to get customers. Well, I tried to build my customer base first.
Yeah, and I've said to some of my friends, like, it doesn't matter how much wood I process, it seems like I can sell it.
Yeah.
You often have said on your channel, you will run out of wood.
You
are right. You will run out of wood.
Yeah, because I have found there's a lot of people that like firewood and like fires, but don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that can't. Either physically they can't do it, they're either somewhat disabled or elderly, or
they don't have the tools.
They don't have the tools or the time.
Yeah.
A lot of my best customers are, they're professional people that, like you say, work in an office, and they just say, hey, I've got land, I've got a chainsaw, I don't have time to do it, and I can't do it. Or my other customers are, it's the lady of the house that wants a fire, and she's been driving to a guy with her minivan to get a cord of wood, making 20 trips because they won't deliver. they become my good customers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I have found that women, I would say I have more women customers than men.
Even the men that I sell to, they're buying it for their wives. A lot of them. They're
that's
like, yeah, my wife wants
interesting.
wood. She wants wood. And then they get there, they're like, my wood's here.
Yeah, so I found like even to the bundle sales, it tends to be mothers with their children. Now the gas station I started at was right near a campground.
Oh, that's perfect.
So,
perfect. You hit it right.
I mean, I get both, but a lot of times it is mothers and especially single mothers.
Sure.
They grab a bundle that they can pick up, stick it in there.
Right. So now you're bundling. Are you wrapping or are you bagging?
I'm wrapping.
Okay. Do you have a wrapper or are you doing it
No,
manually?
as a matter of fact, I see my friend from the Driftless Homestead over there. He's got some twisters, so I do want to take a look at one of those.
Yeah.
But
I just saw the one
built
Tony's got there too, right?
Yeah,
that's the
I
Amish
think
one.
Amish, maybe.
Yeah, that's like $700 you can get that for.
Really?
Check it out.
Well, that's going to be a lot cheaper than the twister.
Well, either one you get, long as you. And my brother, he does hundreds of bundles and he wraps them by hand.
Well, I built the stand that everyone built, right? And I take and wrap it, and it works okay.
Yeah,
but
as long as you can get wood bundled and get it sold, that's all that matters.
Right.
So, you're saying, what kind of volume are you doing then? Just at that, you got two. You said one owner, but it's 6 stations. Is that right?
No. There's only 2.
2 gas stations.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you doing for volume then?
Well, as I say, I work a desk job. I travel a lot. As a matter of fact, I was in my Chicago office this week, and so most of the time I get to cut and split is weekends.
Yeah.
And it's turned into a family thing.
Yeah.
My wife helps me a lot. My daughter reluctantly helps me.
Do you pay her?
I do, because I pay for her car. So
there you go. If you pay her, you'll get more work out of them. Yeah.
So it's turned into a family thing, which has been good too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some ancillary benefits.
Oh, absolutely. And the exercise, like you said, is huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's my favorite thing is the exercise I get. I love working. I love being tired at night.
A friend of mine used to say, it's always good the next day when you feel the good hurt.
Yeah.
And if you've ever worked hard, you know exactly what the good hurt is.
And the older you get, the more you feel it.
Yeah, that's
and about 50 is when it starts hurting. And then I'll be 60 this year. And believe me, every 10 years, it's like adding twice as much weight to everything you do. That's why you got to keep moving, because gravity will win eventually.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
So now,
as a matter of fact, this used to be higher.
So now, the stations you're doing, you said you're doing how many hundreds of bundles you're doing?
Actually, I would say I'm probably doing a couple hundred bundles. And
that's a month, or?
No, that's for the summer.
Oh.
I only do them in the summer.
Good.
And, it's been real slow this year.
It has. Everybody's saying the same thing, because people aren't traveling. They just aren't.
I just don't get it. Maybe
gas
that's
prices.
it.
Gas prices. Well, there were some people that were going to come to this event that were going to bring their big campers that were going to come from pretty far distances, and they decided not to come because they figured it was going to be $1,000 in fuel just to get here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a diesel pickup.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, honestly, it doesn't run unless it's going to make me money.
Right. That's how I look at equipment in general. I'm not the guy that's going to buy the latest toy just because it's a fun toy to have.
Right.
If I can't make money with it or save time or make my job easier, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk a lot about the business of firewood. I think the other person who does a really good job of that is Ohio Woodburn.
Yeah, Joe does a great job.
Joe does a good job.
Yep.
And when you really start looking at it in terms of a business, you start analyzing, like you say, the return on your investment, the investment in your trade working capital, which is, are you getting paid on time?
Yeah.
What's going out the door, and then the inventory. And Joe does a lot about not working with oak.
Yeah, I don't like oak.
And I
love selling it, but it takes forever. It sits. It takes forever to dry it.
Yep.
It's heavier. Oak is a lot of work. If I could pick my favorite 3 kinds of wood, would be ash, maple, and cherry. They all cut easy, they split easy, they dry fast, and they burn good.
Yeah,
to me, those are the ones I want to sell more of.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I have a lot of black locusts in my area. That's another
good wood.
one.
Very good wood.
The other thing we have is black birch.
Oh yeah, that's really good wood. That's as good as yeah. And does it dry pretty fast like white birch?
It dry not as fast as white birch, but similar to cherry.
Yeah, yeah.
And it smells fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that.
It smells fantastic.
I have heard that. I've never seen Black Birch, but I've heard about it. I think I've seen pictures, but I've never seen it in person.
Yeah, I always tell Joe at Ohio Woodburner, he always says how much he likes the smell of cherry.
Yeah.
I always say, I'm going to bring you a piece of Black Birch someday. And I said, you're never going to think of cherry the same. So.
Well, the cherry is nice. Actually, you've ever smelt elm?
Yes,
elm has a real kind of a spicy smell to it. Actually,
does.
I like elm quite a bit. I hate elm for cutting and splitting.
Yeah.
It's like splitting cable.
Oh, it's
I call it Satan wood because it's like literally trying to split a piece of cable. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But it smells good.
It does. Yeah, and you know, that's part of this whole process too, is just like experiencing the smells.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think smells take you back to a time and a place.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that time and a place for me is things I did with my dad when I was a kid.
Right, and I think that's part of the reason why people do firewood is because they did it growing up, and I think a lot of people that are in this business, they burnt firewood as a child, or they had experiences, whether it was camping or scouts or whatever it is, and that smell of the smoke is like, oh, it brings back the memories.
Yeah.
And you get the nice warmth from it, which is great.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and you know, I've found that the YouTube piece is just an addition on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I do it without the YouTube thing, but the more I got into this, the more I liked it.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, it's the people I've met doing it. It's just fantastic. Just wonderful people.
Yeah, very, very good in this community. And,
yeah.
I mean, there's a few of you. You're in that bigger channels category.
Only because I've been doing it longer and I got more videos. Just keep at it.
But you know, Dan from Back 40, he had even said to me, he said, you know, the reason, you know, it's a long way to the top is sometimes people aren't invited. And he takes the approach, he invites everyone.
Oh, absolutely,
and it kind of goes through the whole community. Yeah,
you gotta be nice to everybody. I talk to everybody. I try to answer all my comments yet, which is getting very hard to do.
I bet.
Because there's days I'll get 400 or 500 comments, and I try to comment to everybody.
Yeah.
It's just almost impossible.
Yeah.
But I try to, and you try to be as nice as you can. You try to be as personal as you can. But I'm getting shorter and shorter on my answers because it's
I've noticed.
and you have to. And if someone asks you like 10 questions, you can't answer all of them.
Right.
You got to kind of hit like one or two.
Yeah.
And try to just say thanks.
Yeah.
And I try to touch. You had to be like a politician and touch the hands and wave to the people as much as you can. But it's not that I don't want to. I'd like to talk to everybody, but you just don't have the time. Especially if you're doing a video every day. It's hard.
My hat's off to you on that one.
It's getting harder. My goal was to get to my first goal was to do a year. But now I'm almost on 2 years. So now I'm thinking I'm at like 750. I think I could hit 1,000 maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And then I might cut back.
Doing one a day. I mean that.
I don't do one a day. That's another thing. A lot of people think I do just one video a day. There's days I'll do 5 videos.
Right. You have everything set up and.
Yeah, I'll have like 5 topics I want to talk about. Like one might be just talking about, say, doing moisture meter tests on wood. I'll do all that, and then the next video might be talking about kinds of wood and identify them. Another one might be business, and then I might stack for 2 hours, and then I might cut for 2 hours. So I've done 5 videos in one day.
Right.
Yeah, and there's other days I don't do any because I don't have time.
That's really a smart way to approach it.
It's the only way to do it.
Yeah, if you're going to do it that frequently.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've spent a lot of time trying to learn the editing better.
That's the other thing. There's days where all I do is editing. That's usually what I try to do. Monday is a big day for me for editing because I work on weekends a lot doing deliveries and stuff. So Mondays, if I've got nothing else scheduled, some days, like I actually like it if I get a rainy day. Because I'll just edit all day long, and I'll do like 10 videos.
What do you use for editing software?
I use iMovie.
Do you?
I use a Mac, yeah.
See, I went from iMovie to the Final Cut Pro.
Yep, that's a better program.
And it's taken a little while, but I've really tried to focus on giving a better product.
Yeah.
You know, taking the time to edit it down to where it's easier to watch.
I can say this because I am a professional photographer. That's my main business. Get it right the first time.
Yeah.
When people say, I can fix it in the Final Cut or I can fix it in editing. No, shoot it right.
Yeah.
Get closer, show the action, do different clips. Like when you see a shot of me in my tractor, I'll have the starting of the tractor, you'll see it take off, then I move the camera, get it coming towards the camera, and then when I get to where I'm going, it's driving away, and then the bucket coming down, and then going back. Yeah. So in one shot, I might be on and off the tractor 7
4 or 5 times. Yeah,
7 or 8
easy.
times.
Yeah.
And that's for maybe 30 seconds.
Yep.
Because that's the way you tell the story, and that's not easy, but that's what you got to do.
Yes,
just try to get it right. So that's a different. Not everybody wants to hear about the video part of it.
Well, you know what though, I do think it's interesting. As I've walked around here, people have talked to me about, you know, they want to do this. They do all the things we do.
Yeah.
And well, you know, I've thought about doing a channel or whatever, and I think the important part for them to understand is it does take some time, and there is an art to it, for sure.
The first thing you got to do is start.
Yep, absolutely.
You just got to do it. Just start shooting.
Yeah, I mean, I started doing it with iMovie,
Yep. And your
I
first,
look back at my first videos and I cringe,
your
you know.
first videos are going to suck. Yeah, just do it.
But
just do it.
And some people say take those down, and I'm sort of like, no, that just shows the way I've progressed.
Yeah, people don't care. They'll
camera.
watch it. Yeah, they'll watch it. So what do you want to do with your wood business?
You know, right now, I mean, I work an executive job, so I travel a lot. My editing time's on airplanes.
Oh, well, it's better than sleeping.
And so it's really gotten as big as I can allow it to get.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pushing about 30 cord a year.
Yeah.
So that I really don't want to do more than that.
That's enough for a part-time job and a part-time income. Yeah, just something to do.
Yeah, and it like you say, it paid for my dump trailer.
Right.
It's actually paying for my daughter's car.
There you go.
And so, so you know, it's. I tell a lot of people this. I'm doing this for me.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to lose weight, or at least maintain weight.
That was the first reason I got into it. I just loved cutting firewood.
Me too.
Back when I was doing it just for myself, before I started selling it, I'd be out there. I'd get done after 2 hours of cutting or splitting by hand. I did it all by hand. My first 2 years, I split everything by hand.
Yeah.
I did 40 cords one year and 80 the next year. And finally, I'm like, I got to get a splitter.
Yeah.
But I did it because I love doing it. I love the exercise. And I thought to myself several times out loud, like, I wish I could do this every day for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, you're doing way more.
Well, my hobby certainly has turned into work on a given day. You know, someone's like, hey, I need wood today. And I'm like,
right.
I was going to go for a motorcycle ride, you know. Well, I guess that's out the door. So.
Yeah, it becomes a job, same as anything else. Like people say, oh, do what you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life. That's bull, because you do what you love and it becomes a business and it's still work.
And you become passionate.
And you become obsessed is what happens.
Yeah. Well, I think just by nature, those of us that are doing all of this, we're obsessive compulsive to begin with. So, you know, it's only going to get worse.
Right. Well, that was great. Well, nice meeting you here.
Nice
First
to meet
time we
you.
met.
Yeah, we haven't
Thanks
met
for
before.
watching, everybody. You know what to do. Poke the buttons. Tomorrow I'll be back 5:30 a.m. for another video for you. Between now and then, get outside, get cutting. And if you're bored, go to my channel. There's 700 videos waiting for you to watch right now.
Or they can go to my channel.
You go to his channel. That'd be good too.
80.
There you go. You can watch his channel. Woodruff Woods.
Woodruff Woods.
And who do we say goodnight to?
Irene.
Good night, Irene.